Insurrection, obstruction, indictments, civilly liable for sexual abuse. The one man responsible for all that could be sitting in a prison cell on election day and still be elected commander-in-chief for these United States. That man is beholden to Putin, weakened NATO the last time around, and is currently tying himself to wealthy Saudi oil money. He enriched himself when government stated his properties. He campaigned on wanting to use government to go after his political rivals and wants to expand executive power. If Donald Trump is re-elected, our nation is lost. So let's roll up our sleeves, get to work, and tell the MAGA folks no more before it's too late.
Just joining the chat because Blog Talk Radio is still down, which is why I had to go find that audio on my computer real quick, which is why you had a brief delay in the audio between the intro and the other sound because, you know, Blog Talk Radio still stinks. And, you know, well, it is what it is. Anyway, so no phone calls today either. Apparently we won't be doing phone calls for the near future. Thankfully, we've switched over to mostly YouTube anyway, unfortunately, which sucks because I hope they get the phone call thing resolved by the time Khalil gets his thing on January 11th on the for the gun demonstration in Virginia, because I definitely want to hear back from him after that's done. However, until then, we will just have to make do with, you know, just text-based questions, etc. So, but we are here. We are live for the Liberal Dan Radio Year in Review. And for the Liberal Dan Radio Year in Review, hopefully YouTube is not trolling me this time because we are in the Year in Review. We are getting reviewed. What does that mean? It means I finally got above 3,000 again, and hopefully this time it sticks, and hopefully it's good. So for the Year in Review, hopefully we're actually getting reviewed, and hopefully this will be done, and maybe they say it could take up to a month. I don't know, but maybe by the new year, maybe by the New Year show, something lucky will happen, and we'll get monetized. We'll become a YouTube partner by the new year. But I happened to just turn this on, like, literally open this page like 2 minutes ago and saw that instead of showing me how many hours I have viewed in the last 365 days, it now shows me this. So think good thoughts. Thank everybody for all the help you've done by watching videos outside the show, by tuning into the show all this year, by tuning into 2 shows a week now, because that's done it. I mean, regardless of the shows outside, doing 2 shows a week is going to get us to the point where even when we get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll be able to continue to be monetized and then get the additional next step of the partnership. So we're doing what we need to do to help the show grow, and you're doing what you need to do to help me grow, and I appreciate each and every one of you for helping me along the way. So, yes, Steve, within a month. Although, I don't know. Like, from my software development stuff, like, I'm in charge of, like, the SharePoint side on you know, one of my job duties at my where I'm employed is I run the SharePoint site, and people will complain when something doesn't immediately go from our on-prem servers online after it gets pushed to the SharePoint Online stuff. According to Microsoft, it can take up to 72 hours in order for the search engine to spider through all of the profiles and get all the data it needs to get. Normally it happens like this, but the 72 hour thing is, in my opinion, just to cover their butts. So when YouTube says like 30 days or a month to happen, it may very well be that they're just saying that just to cover their butts, just to say, okay, this is the most amount of time it might make. Maybe it'll take sooner. I don't know. I did have people on YouTube on their Twitter account actually take a look at it and say, we're going to check it out and we're going to see what's going on with this. So maybe they're responsible for this. So if they happen to be listening, I doubt it, but if they happen to be listening, thank y'all for the assistance on that as well. Because, you know, although I did see this Friday as well, and then Saturday it immediately went away. So I'm not holding my breath either. This could just disappear because my hours have fluctuated daily over the last week and a half, 2 weeks. So didn't I dispute some hours? I didn't necessarily dispute some hours, but I did question. They said that like the difference between the hours on that page and the analytics page were about by 100, and they were initially saying that it was maybe because of unlisted or deleted videos, but I don't think I have many, if any, of those, so I don't think that counts. I don't think that's an issue. I think, but what could be the issue is I don't know if they count shorts. When people view the shorts, that might not count towards it either. So that could have been the issue. So, anyway. So I appreciate, again, everybody. I appreciate everybody's help. Everybody for doing, for all of the watching that y'all have done, for all of the help and assistance that y'all have been doing, and helping me reach this level, and then helping me get to the next level and next level above that. Because y'all, if it wasn't for y'all, the show wouldn't be as successful as it has been. If it wasn't for y'all, if it wasn't for like Hal and Tara and other people like that, I would probably just still be at 100 subscribers and just talking to like a couple people on Blog Talk Radio. So I appreciate y'all for coming to the show regularly. I appreciate y'all for participating and making the show so much better than it was mere 2 years ago. So bottom of my heart, appreciate it. Thank you so much. So year in review. And again, I don't let myself get overhyped. I don't let myself think to myself that this is going to be something that's going to absolutely be for certain. I don't know. But yeah, it is what it is. I will once I get my first super chat, I'll do a happy dance. How about that? Super chat and or membership purchase. Excuse me. Just choked on my lemonade. Just one thing on my personal Twitter account, which I don't really tweet from much, but I had to tweet at McDonald's today because my kids are like, it's Wednesdays, can we have McDonald's? I'm like, fine, I'll go get McDonald's. So, unfortunately, like, my mother-in-law, who's been living with us for the past year, it's been wonderful having her living with us. You know, the kids love having her here. The cats love having her here. The cats love getting in her way. So it's sometimes funny when she's like, move, cat. I'm one of the fortunate ones to have a good mother-in-law. So she treats to the kids and me, I guess, to McDonald's every week, which is nice. But like, you'd think like they would have it set up to where you could like put it, like, if you want to get something from a particular location and they don't have it, like, everybody knows the common joke or the reality is that the ice cream machine is like Schrodinger's cat. Like, you never know if it's actually working until you order. But you'd think that, like, if the ice cream machine is down, that they could put into like some computer system, put into the system ice cream machine down, so they could know, like, okay, in the app you can't order shakes, you can't order ice cream, you can't order anything. Okay, we don't have soft drinks right now, we don't have sodas, so no sodas. Like, you could enter it into the system, no sodas. Did that happen today? No. So everyone got lemonade, and their lemonade is tart. So I had to add a whole bunch of diabetes into the lemonade in order for me to enjoy my lemonade, because terrible. Elizabeth, it's raining in California. What's it raining? Cats and dogs? Men? Male cats and dogs? Anyway, let's scroll back through the thing. Wes was talking about the certifiable, I guess, children deaths in Gaza. I'm guessing, is that what Wes was bringing up earlier? I don't know. I'm assuming that's what he was talking about. Again, I would implore you, Wes, to differentiate between Jews and actions taken by Israel. You've listened to my podcast enough to know that I've been very critical of the actions of Netanyahu and Likud and Israel as it pertains to how they've responded to 10/7. I have been very specific in stating that they've gone overboard. They've done indiscriminate bombing, collective punishment, that I disagree with, taking away or blocking of water, food, medical supplies, etc. So you know that I've absolutely have been vociferously against how Israel has gone after Hamas. I don't think that they should be prevented from going after Hamas in general, because what Hamas did was wrong. But I don't think that they've gone after Hamas in the correct way. So you know, if you paid attention, that I'm against how they've been going after, how they've been fighting this war against Hamas. So now, as to whether or not, I don't know how the number of children deaths was certified, because anytime they say Gazan Health Ministry, all that means is Hamas. So if that means Hamas, then I don't believe it. You know, if it was like some UN agency, or if it was some other agency that was external to Hamas, sure, I'll believe them. And if they're saying it's 7,000, absolutely, I'll believe it. And of course, that's terrible. Now, then you get into whose responsibility is it? Is it Israel's responsibility for the indiscriminate bombing? Yes, they take much of the blame for indiscriminately bombing, for saying go south and then bombing south. For many of the things that they've done, they take a lot of responsibility for. Then again, you know, there was some people who were being critical of Israel for bombing, I guess, the house of the Gazan Health Ministry chief or something like that. Well, the person who's the chief of the Gazan Health Ministry is because that's Hamas. So that person is Hamas. So if you're in Hamas and you don't want your kids being targeted, don't go in a house with your kids. There's that too. So again, too many people look at this situation. Too many people look at the situation as it pertains to Israel and Hamas in an overly simplified way. But we're going to get to more of that in a second as we get to the year in review, as we review the entire year or what have you. Let's see, what else? Taco Bell yesterday, trying to figure out what to order. Lady behind the counter asked me what I thought about vegetarian food. I said, don't stand there and cuss at me. Elizabeth, das Maschinen ist broken und dort nur Gefinger poken in mitten graben. Nice. Steve, I took her suggestion. It was pretty good. Nice. Anywho, so let's see. I made it. I turned off the volume so I can kind of go through. To start off the year, January 4th, the first podcast, we talked about Kevin McCarthy's degradation kink. So if you remember, back, in 2023 is when the Republicans managed to squeak by and win the House. They were embarrassed in that normally in an off-year election, the party who is not in power sweeps control of the House and wins 40 some odd seats. In reality, the Republicans only squeaked by with like a few seat lead, and some of those seats were of very questionable people, like your George Santoses or what have you. But then you have Kevin McCarthy and his degradation kink. And I don't kink shame, but he had to go through 15 votes to actually become Speaker of the House. And as we saw over the course of the year, we ended up having a lot of redos or reovers of that situation of trying to rename another Speaker of the House, another Speaker that, because they can't make up their minds. I'm surprised we don't have another attempt to go over to try and replace this Speaker of the House as well. So yeah. Then, unfortunately, at the beginning of the year, I ended up missing about a good 3 weeks. It's probably because I was like vacationing and cruising and stuff like that. Who knows? What's up, Jolie? Good to see you. Wait, Lauren Boebert dropped out and changed districts. Is that because she was getting threatened, or is that because she moved? Or is there more stuff to do? See, that's it. Lauren Boebert, 19 minutes ago. Lauren Boebert switching Colorado congressional districts to save career. The far-right Democrat was facing a tough re-election complaint against Democratic Adam Frisch. Republican lawmaker Boebert has announced she is switching Colorado districts in an attempt to stay in Congress. Ms. Boebert was facing a tough re-election campaign in the 3rd district. Now she will compete in the more GOP-friendly 4th. The move just comes months after she made national headlines after she and a male companion were kicked out of a performance with Beetlejuice after she said Beetlejuice 3 times and something popped out of his pants. I did not arrive at this Facebook decision easily, she said in a Facebook video. Oh, let me see this Facebook video. Let's pull this up. Oh, hold on. I need to load this in a Hold on. There we go. Let's go back to this and see. She does not look good in that video. Hold on, it's muted.
After all, joy is not... Hey everyone, I hope you had a great Christmas with your family and loved ones. I hope it was full of laughter and joy. After all, joy is not just a suggestion, it is our battle plan. Now
Joy
for this video, let's
plan.
get right to
Nice.
it. Today, I am announcing my candidacy for the 2024 Republican nomination to represent Colorado's 4th Congressional District in the United States House of Representatives. It's the right move for me personally, and it's the right decision for those who support our conservative movement. This is the right move for Colorado, for us. Since the first day I ran for public office, I promised I would do whatever it takes to stop the socialists and communists from taking over our country.
If it means I have to go take down their pants and do it myself.
That means staying in the fight. But it also means...
Staying? Oh, staying. I thought you said staying in the fight. I don't think they got to a point where a staying happened in the theater.
not allowing Hollywood elites and progressive money groups to buy the 3rd district, a seat that they...
If not allowing them to buy the 3rd district, if she didn't want to allow them to buy the 3rd district, she would stay and fight in the 3rd district. No, she's running to the 4th district, apparently.
have no business owning. I will not allow dark money that is directed at destroying me personally to steal this seat. It's not fair to the 3rd district and the conservatives there who have fought so hard for our victories, of which
He'll probably still win the district, regardless of if you're there or not, because he'll be able to run against you in absentia.
I'm incredibly grateful. Personally, this announcement is a fresh start following a pretty difficult year for me and my family.
Yeah, I mean, it was very hard on her. Emphasis on hard on.
I had never been in politics before, and I'd never been through a divorce, something I never intended to go through. I've made my own personal mistakes, and
it just happened to slip into his pants. It just fell in there.
Have owned up and apologized for them. It's tested my faith, my strength, and my abilities, both as a mom and a congresswoman. It's been humbling and challenging.
Her abilities as a congressman include the old rub and tug?
But it's also given me perspective and helped
Boo-hoo.
me grow. I cannot
It wasn't you that helped grow. That's for darn sure. Sorry.
put into words how grateful I am for everyone who has steadfastly stood alongside of me in the 3rd District and across America.
Everyone standing erect for Lauren Boebert.
The relationships we have cultivated over the past few years are deeply cherished and unbreakable.
How deep was it?
2024 is going to be tough. We cannot lose the 3rd, and Colorado's 4th District is hungry for an unapologetic defender of freedom with a proven track record of standing strong for conservative principles.
Who's the current representative, and why? I wonder what they happen to feel about it, or is that person leaving? Is it an open seat?
We have to protect our majority in the House, win the Senate, and win the presidency. President Trump has made it very clear that when we take back the White House, he needs our conservative
He needs a reach around. Sorry.
voices heard loud and clear. I love Colorado's 3rd, and I will continue working as hard as I can for the remainder of my term to be a great representative for everyone in this district.
I wonder if it's like Louisiana, because in Louisiana, technically you don't have to live in the district you represent. So I'm wondering if that's also the case in Colorado, if you don't have to live in the district you represent, because unless she's moving. Then again, when Bobby Jindal ran for the 1st Congressional District way back in the day when I ran for Congress, he did move into the district even though he didn't have to. But who knows?
But I also spent years living on the Front Range and years representing rural America. The 3rd and 4th Congressional Districts comprise nearly 85% of Colorado's footprint and have less than 20 people per square mile. Rural America deserves a
That way they don't have to look at me or deal with me.
strong voice that fights for their freedoms. The American people are struggling with groceries, inflation, utility bills.
The reason the American people are struggling with inflation is because Donald Trump made a horrible gas deal, but, hey, no one wants to talk about that except for me. And then, of course, there's the fact that America, under the leadership of Joe Biden, has dealt with inflation better than all the other G7, but, no one wants to talk. The conservatives want to conveniently ignore that, too.
And other monthly expenses that were fueled by Biden's spending spree.
Nope.
I know all too well how
Sorry.
damaging the liberals have been to our entire state here in Colorado.
Liberals have been hard on us.
I will be moving to the 4th in 2024.
Okay, so she is carpetbagging.
And will continue to take my conservative fight directly to them. And the Aspen donors, George Soros, and Hollywood actors that are trying to buy this seat, well, they can go pound sand. We aren't going to give them the opportunity to steal the 3rd.
So now they're going to have... So here's what's going to be great. Let me get to that in a second.
Republicans will hold the 3rd, and I'll proudly represent the 4th, and Republicans will be stronger for it. The future of our country is on the line. I'm going to continue to fight every day to secure the border, put a stop to Bidenomics, and reduce inflation.
We're going to put a stop to Bidenomics because it's been too good to this country, and we just can't have that.
Increase water storage, support ranchers and farmers, responsibly develop American energy and minerals, stop wokeism, and get our country back on track. I did not arrive at this
Get our country back on track, and I'm going to start so by running a train all over Colorado.
Decision easily. A lot of prayer.
Liberal Dan Radio does not kink shame, and if everyone consents to it, we have no problem with that. We just have a problem with the people who are hypocrites and actually want to legislate against people being able to do consensual things with each other.
A lot of tough conversations and a lot of perspective had convinced me that this is the best way I can continue to fight for Colorado, for the conservative movement, and for my children's future, and for the future of our great country. I love you. I appreciate
she loves us.
all of your support more than you will ever know. May God continue to bless you. May he have
I didn't sneeze.
his hand over
His hand where? What?
our great nation.
Oh.
God bless America. Thank you.
Anyway. So, Lauren Boebert's moving to the 4th Congressional District in Colorado because she thinks that that's going to help stop the Democrats from winning the 3rd Congressional District, because currently, apparently a lot of money is being spent in the 3rd Congressional District trying to topple her in that seat. So she's going to move to the 4th. What would be great to see, what would be amazing if this backfired on her completely, and have it not only the Democrats be able to win the 3rd Congressional District because they have the momentum there from 2023 where they almost beat her, and then have them beat her and have them win whoever the Republican candidate ends up being in the 3rd Congressional District because they have that momentum, but then have her go to the 4th Congressional District, and then because she's there, she puts her stain on that district too, and then have the Democrats magically pull off a victory there as well, so she not only ruins one district for the Republicans, she ruins 2. I hope and pray that that would be what happens, because that would be amazeballs. Anyway. I don't know, do we want to see what's in those cabinets? I don't know, what's in those cabinets might be something very disturbing. Let's see. Colorado, 4th Congressional District. Wikipedia. Right now it's a Republican plus 13 districts. So, I mean, odds are it's not going to happen. But, you know, who is the current representative? Let's fast forward. It's currently Ken Buck. I think Ken Buck is retiring at the end of the term. So that's why she's moving to the 4th, because she's trying to replace Ken Buck. I don't think she would have, I mean, she probably would have challenged Ken Buck regardless, but Ken Buck's retiring. And now Ken Buck's actually speaking out against the ridiculousness. So, you know, because it takes Republicans retiring for them to show any sort of backbone. Apparently, they have to check in their backbone at the door when they take office, and then they can only give it. They only have to. They can get it back when they leave, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. So what else been going? What else happened in 2020? Now back to the year in review. Now that we've tackled Lauren Boebert and her attempt to stick her hand down the pants of more Colorado districts. Let's see. We had that State of the Union where Dark Brandon was all dressed up in, was all like dark, and there was the red in the background, and all the Republicans were all freaking out about the whole imagery or whatever. We had and he owned the Republicans in that by calling out the MAGA types. Then we had Philip Bittner return to the show. We talked about Ukraine. Of course, this is back in February when Ukraine was actually a topic that we talked about and didn't get the back burner because Israel and Hamas, their fight was not going all over the news, making Ukraine take the back burner, and unfortunately now Ukraine is getting the back burner. See, what was that quote for? Let me look. What would the wind tell you that you are? What was that from? I'm not getting a good hit on that. Let's see if we can open up this stream and see what what I said about the show. So Jeff Curry, local news, Springfield, Missouri. 2 guys robbed a vape shop. Owner said they stole a little bit of money, took some really cheap vapes. She laughed about it. LOL. Let's see. Dan, off topic. Did you watch Severance, the series Nerdcore? I did see Severance. Is it a second? I think I did see Severance at least. Yes, I did see Severance. Only 1 season. Are they going to come back with the second season of that? I hope so, because I would hate for them to. Is there a season 2 of Severance? Season 2 is confirmed. Apple announced the renewal in August 2022, but I don't know when it's coming out yet. But yes, I did see Severance. Let's open up this. Let's open up. I might have a better shot at seeing stuff if I open up this thing instead. This window. I tease too much on some of my other stuff. But yeah, Severance was a very, very good show. It's one of the shows that I watched that was really, really good. Let's see. In March, we did talk about we had a recall of the New Orleans mayor here in New Orleans. That's one of the things that we did happen to talk about here on the show, is the hypocrisy on the flyer, hypocrisy on alleged infidelity when it came to Mayor Cantrell in New Orleans. We had definitely had some issues with that, simply because of the fact that what Mayor Cantrell was doing, she is a black woman, so she can't do the things that white men and black men have been doing the entire time. But if you're a white guy, you definitely got away with it. If you're a black guy, maybe you got away with it. But if you're a black woman, you can't get away with it, apparently. Let's see. In March, we happened to have a situation where I had one of my fat man rants, and on one of those fat man rants, we happened to make the topic of the fat man rant happened to be Anna Kasparian. Anna Kasparian was very upset because somebody referred to people as a birthing person, as birthing people, because they were trying to be inclusive of all people who could give birth. And I mean, I've never used that term, but I've also have been inclusive when I discuss issues like abortion, because I try to be aware of the fact that not all people who are affected by the overturning of Roe v. Wade are women, that there are non-binary folks, there are trans men, there are other folks who are gender fluid and have other gender identities that are valid, that do not identify as women, who still can be harmed by the ruling. And Anna Kasparian had a fit, and even Cenk Younger included her and agreed with her, and they doubled down on it. They started getting criticized for it, and they doubled down on it, and they did not like the fact that they were getting criticized for all that, because they were really just getting, people were going against them, me included, but other people were just like, well, wait a second. And the people that were coming to their aid were people like, conservatives who were like, yeah, we like Cenk and Anna, yeah, we like them now. So what did that do? What did that and other things do? Well, to bury the lead, I guess, a little bit, this year's of the 2023 Hypocrite of the Year is, well, you probably guessed it already,
The 2023 Liberal Dan Radio Hypocrites of the Year are the Young Turks. Not only did Cenk and Anna double down on anti-trans and TERF rhetoric when called out on it, and not only did they support a Supreme Court ruling against affirmative action, but Cenk and his run for president is not only ill-advised because he is not eligible, but it is a grift that only helps Donald Trump win. Remember to see who the Liberal Dan Radio Hypocrite of the Week is, and for more talk from the left that's right, tune in every Monday and Wednesday, live at 8 p.m. Central at liberaldanradio.com.
So there you go. That's another thing I did this year. I made it easier for you to get to the podcast by just making it go to liberaldanradio.com is how to get to the YouTube channel, liberaldanradio.com. But instead of last year, it was Moscow Mitch McConnell. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell was the hypocrite of the year for last year. But this year, I decided to make it the Young Turks, the hypocrites of the year this year. They both get the award. So congratulations, Cenk and Anna. You get the hypocrites of the year. So who will be next year's? Well, you'll just have to stay tuned all next year to find out. And were there other hypocrites that potentially, it's like kind of like Time's Person of the Year, I guess, just not as important. But there could have been many other people who clearly were hypocrites last year, but to me that they maybe had the most, the most hypocrisy because they swayed the most they were pandering to the far right extremists with all their TERF stuff and with all their support of the Supreme Court ruling that basically said affirmative action was not okay, and they're like, well, maybe it's time for the affirmative action to come to an end. What? Maybe it's time to get rid of the levees in New Orleans because we haven't flooded for a while either. Ridiculous. So let's see. Yes, Steve, you're correct. It was definitely something that I liked, and I'm usually really, really good at catching swerves, like at catching what the twist is going to be. And the one twist towards the end of the show, I was like, oh, I was not expecting that one. That was really well done. All this year, we've been dealing with drug shortages. There's drug shortages on Vyvanse for people with ADHD. But earlier this year there was issues with Ozempic. People were using Ozempic and are still using Ozempic for weight loss, even though it's an off-label use. It's not what it's supposed to be used for, but doctors are helping people get it if they can afford it. And because the people who don't need it but are using it to drop 10 pounds because they're in Hollywood, it's making a shortage. It made a shortage for people who needed it for the real reasons to use Ozempic, which means the people who had Ozempic prescriptions maybe had to go get other prescriptions like Trulicity or other things like that, and then so the people who now needed Trulicity were having issues getting their prescriptions as well. So greed and a society that maintains unrealistic body standards, and a society that makes people think that they have to look perfect and defines what perfect is, in order to in order to look good or to look good on camera or what have you. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how we have to, people have to deal with all of that. And how we have to basically, whatchamacallit, blanking my train of thought, blanked on my train of thought there. But yeah, how we have to deal with those impossible body image ideals that society places on us, and as such it causes people to have not just real life issues like mentally for themselves, but it perpetuates this issue so much that it now causes like supply issues for drugs. Like when it gets that bad, there is a big issue. It's terrible. Let's see. Of course, later on in the year, we had on May 9th, we had a jury found that it was more likely than not that Donald Trump raped E. Jean Carroll, and found him, or they did not find it more likely than not that he raped E. Jean Carroll, but he found that there was sufficient evidence to find it that he was civil and liable for sexual abuse, and that he should have to pay for damages for that. And that brought up a bunch of that brought all of the scumbags out of the woodwork, because they were like, well, the civil trial said he didn't rape her, so he didn't rape her. It's like, well, he sexually assaulted her and sexually abused her. That's okay? It's okay for you that they said there was enough evidence that he sexually abused her, as long as it wasn't full-on rape, right? That's fine to y'all. Lots of people, if they hadn't already shown their real colors, their true colors already. I see your true colors shining through. I see their true colors, and that's why I don't like you. So, and then, yeah, the Twitter was like, oh, he's exonerated. It was like the Dewey Beach Truman article. Like they saw the first thing and like, they said he didn't rape her, yeah, and then they didn't read anything else. Or it was like the initial thing when everyone thought that Obamacare was overturned because they shot down the mandate, but they still upheld they upheld the mandate, but they shot down the requirement for the states to have the expansion of Medicaid. They shot down the Medicaid expansion on the Affordable Care Act. And so, but they initially said the Affordable Care Act was dead because all they did was read the first part and didn't read the second part. Totally Dewey versus Truman again thing. Well, and of course, brought the people out was like, well, Biden likes to sniff people's hair. Like, oh, okay, well, if Joe Biden does anything and did anything that brought him to be civilly liable for sexual harassment, sexual abuse, and somebody brought a successful case against him and won, then okay, he should have to pay. But so far that's not happened. And the thing is that Donald Trump can't keep his damn mouth shut. Because one of the most crazy things about that whole thing was all Donald Trump had to do in the deposition for that case. Because he was being deposed and he was asked about his whole grab him by the hoo-ha thing. And how people can just walk up on women and grab them by the hoo-has. And so, do you think people can do that? All he could have done is just said, I was just talking. It was just locker room talk. I was just joking around. I was just kidding. Whatever. It wasn't serious talk. And then maybe he could have gotten maybe they could have been plausible deniability. Maybe the jury would have said, okay, well, if he's saying he was really just joking, then maybe there's not enough there. But no, on the deposition, he was like, yeah, men can do it. It's happened for millions of years. I meant what I said. But then again, he also said, he said publicly, he doesn't joke. He doesn't kid. He does not joke around. He had said that before on something else as well. So when anybody says, what about him saying he wants to be a dictator? He doesn't joke around. He doesn't kid. He doesn't joke around. He already said that. He might lie. He might downplay the threats like he did with COVID, but he doesn't joke. That's for darn sure. So, As I said before, let me be clear, this is no longer about Trump. We all know that how he feels entitled and empowered to grab people. It's no longer locker room talk. Anyone with 4 working brain cells knew it wasn't locker room talk, but he proved it was locker room talk with that deposition. But now this is about the people who now view sexual abuse as minor. Those people who gloss over sexual abuse, who have no problem with him sexually abusing people. If you are married to if anybody who is married to any of these people should have gotten a divorce by now. Because if you're married to somebody who views that sexual abuse is minor, then that's a big problem. That's a big, giant red flag. Huge red flag. Also in May, Tommy Tuberville, the potato, Tommy Potatoville said that Trump's verdict makes him want to vote for Trump twice. So basically, he wants to commit voter election fraud, just showing that it's always conservatives that are the ones committing voter fraud and not Democrats. George Santos got his arrest, and we've dealt with George Santos and him getting finally booted from Congress. Democrats and some Republicans finally had enough and said, we're done with this guy, we don't care. Of course, the Republican leadership voted to maintain their slim majority in the House, and now they have an even slimmer majority in the House. Oh well, that's what happens when you back crazy. But now George Santos is making tons of money on Cameo. And might even make more money if his lawsuit against Jimmy Kimmel is successful. And we talked about that on my drive to Florida the other day. So, what else? See, Tucker Carlson announced his intent to have a TV show on Twitter during a stream with Elon Musk. And then you can't have a free society if people aren't allowed to say what they think is true. In other words, you can't be free unless you're free to spout your own delusions. If Tucker Carlson, i.e. Tuckums, as Joy Reid calls him, does a show before 2025, he gives him $25 million for violating his non-compete clause. So if Tucker wanted his free speech, it's going to cost him $25 million. So I guess it's not free. What else? Yeah, the state of Montana tried to ban TikTok in May as well. Louisiana failed to pass any amendments to its abortion ban, unfortunately, keeping its horrible abortion ban intact. North Carolina passed a 12-week ban and then overrid the governor's veto. I believe the North Carolina ban, the overriding of the ban was helped with a help of a turncoat Democrat. That might be the wrong state if I'm remembering it correctly. I don't know. The Fifth Circuit ruled, had a ruling that sounded, or had a hearing about the Mifepristone, and that case is back then in May has finally made it up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will probably be making a ruling on the Mifepristone, i.e. the abortion pill case soon. I don't know how that case was allowed to have standing, because it's ridiculous how that case was allowed to have standing, but then again, it was ridiculous how the student loan case was allowed to have standing. See, back in May, Bobo the Clown filed for divorce back then. So prior to her pulling a fast one in Beetlejuice, she pulled a divorce. And then you had Bobo and MTG now both being single. Can you imagine their girls' night out? You had a body found in the freezer in Arby's, Louisiana, in New Iberia. I remember their commercials would say, "We got the meats, but you don't want that kind of meat." Back in May was the first time I heard about Vivek Ramaswamy and his human chimera paper. Basically, he wrote a paper about Man Bear Pig, the South Park thing, and I'm completely just amused at the whole thing. And the funny thing about... Hey, TV2 Live, what's going on? The thing about the Man Bear Pig thing, let me see if I can pull this up real quick, because this was hilarious. This was absolutely hilarious. Let's pull this up if I can. Come on, notifications. Pull up. Because I captured, and let's bring this back over here to the alternate page. We're gonna have to bring the Venmo over here to, if you want to see this. So on my thing, why are people not discussing Man Bear Pig and why Vivek Ramaswamy and his senior thesis on him? And this person, Seeker 1924, like, an ethical person is far better leader than good of all. I'm pleased to hear about Vivek's sense of ethics and boldness from a young age. Can't wait to see him in the White House. And, like, I kept on doubling down about the whole thing. And, like, it's an amusing thing to me. It's just so funny. And, like, he's like, have you read the paper? I'm like, no, he wrote a paper about Man Bear Pig. And I'm like, he's like, if you go beyond the title and actually read the content of his own writings instead of someone else's twist, or jump into a misinterpretation by a shallow, cursive reading, then you would realize that Vivek is on the same side as you. No, he's not. Vivek Ramaswamy is not on the same side as me, regardless of it. But take this as my last word. I can't afford to spend any more time on you. No need to reply. You may find calmness by following God's guidance to your conscience. I'm like, I mean, responses drive the Al Gore rhythms. Get it? Al Gore, Man Bear Pig. And can you just for a second consider that I'm being funny with this one? Sometimes on my podcast, I use humor to cut through some of the BS we deal with. So the fact that he wrote a thesis dealing with human-animal chimerism, and that sounds a lot like writing a thesis on Man Bear Pig, is something to amuse any South Park fan, regardless of where they are in the political spectrum. That you kept being super serial about it just made me keep going, but seriously, it's for the last, get over it. Now about the compassion that Vivek supposedly has, maybe I'll address that on tonight's podcast. I actually ended up not discussing it on that podcast because, you know, well, I had lots of time, lots of stuff to talk about, and then I got tired and I just wanted to go to bed, wanted to go to sleep or whatever. So I didn't talk about Vivek's compassion or lack thereof or whatever. But Vivek Ramaswamy is not a compassionate person. He's somebody who wants to he wants to, like, eliminate birthright citizenship because he doesn't understand the simple concept that what the subject to the jurisdiction thereof clause means, i.e., if you're subject to the jurisdiction of the laws, therefore, if you can be arrested in the country for a crime that you've committed, you can, therefore, your children, if born here, are citizens here. Simple as that. But he doesn't want to get that. He wants to have some convoluted argument that's, you know, just bigoted at the least, xenophobic, etc. So, but it's just crazy that they take things so seriously. I mean, like, I'm just having fun with the idea, like, and I'm having fun with the idea that his senior thesis was about Man Bear Pig, because that's what Man Bear Pig was, a human-animal chimera. But B, if I can get, like, a little bit of traction on the podcast by being the person to point out that Vivek Ramaswamy wrote a senior paper on Man Bear Pig and maybe get that rolling, and hey, this is the guy that figured out that Vivek Ramaswamy wrote a paper on Man Bear Pig, why not? Right? Hey, Alarasia, what's going on? Good to see you. What else to discuss? This is the year we dealt with Gibson Media. To everybody, to most of the people in the chat's chagrin. We first met Representative Mandy Landry on the podcast. We discussed her and stuff, the issues that she likes to talk about. What was the 531 ruling? Oh yeah, Alito. There was on May 31st, there was the ruling on the Clean Water Act, where Alito was basically trying to make the argument that a puddle could be considered a body of water under the law of the text, and therefore somehow was problematic. And I'm just like, what? Are you stupid? And well, the answer to that is yes. Alito is horribly stupid. His rulings are terrible, and I don't know how he ever made it to past law school, let alone onto the Supreme Court. But the idea that, yeah, but what's been funny whenever I've done a lot of the times, at least when I do a review of the rulings, as I go through the ruling, I'll make commentary on what Alito says specifically, and then I'll be like, this is ridiculous, this is why it's ridiculous, and then we'll get to the dissent, and one of the liberal justices will make the same points I made, especially like Kagan. Kagan's the one I think I agree with the most. It used to be Ginsburg, but now it's Kagan. Maybe it's because of our Jewishness. I don't know. I'm still wearing my Hanukkah shirt. Maybe it's because we're all Jewish, but it just seems to be funny that I just find myself in it. Like, I'll say something and then Kagan will say the same thing in dissent, and I'd be like, this is great. So what else? What else did we talk about in the wonderful year that was 2023? In June, we had another Ukraine update, and had Phil call in again. I think that was when we had that's when we had some technical issues, but we drove right through them, and that was probably one of the first more recent technical issues that we had to deal with when it came to Blog Talk Radio, unlike this past couple of weeks. I didn't block you. I haven't blocked you, Wes. If I blocked you, how would you be on the show? I just haven't read much of the chat recently. I just saw my name highlighted. I haven't blocked you, Wes. Let's see, on June 14th, we had Donald Trump being arraigned on charges under the Espionage Act. And then they had the ruling from when SCOTUS struck a blow to the gerrymandering and upheld Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, and said that I think that was the Alabama districts that were ruled to be unconstitutional, which was shocking beyond all belief. I have not gotten to Trump's Christmas suite yet. I don't even know if I've gotten to Trump's Christmas suite yet. I don't even know if I've seen it. We'll see. We'll get there. We're on the year in review, and we're not to Christmas yet. So, we'll get there, though. Remind me. But yeah, when the Supreme Court, after it decimated the Voting Rights Act from Sections 4 and Section 5, and then it upheld Section 2, I think everybody was like, what? That's crazy. Could not believe that. Then we had it wasn't the creation of the No Labels Party, but we did have the No Labels Party announcing that they were going to potentially cause their shenanigans in the upcoming elections because, that could only be horrible. And just to remind everybody about that, the argument that was being made by the No Labels Party was that they weren't going to run if it was if they're only going to run if the race is close. They weren't going to run if Biden was running away with it, which doesn't make any sense. Like, if you're running with the race is close, that means you're gonna have more of an opportunity of impacting the race. Like you're gonna make it more likely for Trump to win. It doesn't make any sense. Of course, these people in the no labels party, these like centrists, these extremist centrists, I would say, like, because there are people who I think are definitely who I would call extremist centrists. It's like, you know how like there's the extremists on the left who are like, both parties are the same, man, because like they don't see the difference between the Republicans and Democrats. They don't see how the vast differences on like abortion and trans rights and women's rights and everything else, you know, just vastly different. But both parties are the same, man, because they're just so far to the left that they can't handle it. Well, like the same thing is with the people who are the centrists, who will say that both parties, they're not necessarily the same, but they're the two sides of the same coin, and therefore they're ruining the country, man. Meanwhile, they're going to sit there and sop up all of the votes in the Senate, or try and sop up all the votes in the Senate that could potentially help the reasonable person, i.e. Biden, beat Trump. So, it's ridiculous. Then, of course, you had the Supreme Court ruling on student loans, and we reviewed that live on the podcast. And it was a special episode because, you know, I wanted to make sure to be able to get that done ASAP. And, of course, that I don't understand how they're so big on standing, on making sure that a party can bring standing in front of the court. Yet, for some reason, they enabled the state of Missouri to have standing, and therefore enabled everybody else to come in along with them, despite the fact that Mohila didn't want anything to do with it. Mohila was like, that's fine. If they want to cancel the loans, fine. It's less work for them to do. But the grifting Missouri, or Missouri, depending on where you are, argument was that if people got their student loans written off, that Mohila wouldn't be able to get fees from the government for processing those loans, i.e., let's say those people had, like, let's say there were a bunch of people being serviced by Mohila with like $10,000 to $20,000 of student loan remaining, and Biden administration goes, whoop, those loans all went away now, and now Mohila doesn't get those servicing fees for servicing those loans, so those are no longer money. That's even though Mohila is an NGO, non-governmental entity, Missouri was able to make a successful argument to the Supreme Court that somehow this still belongs to them. And the Supreme Court went along with it because we have an activist conservative Supreme Court. This year and the last year, these past couple of years, has just proven that we have an activist conservative Supreme Court. So when we have any question as to why things are happening the way they are, if we have any question as to whether or not the Supreme Court is going to rule in a way that we like, it's usually no. Sometimes, like with the gerrymandering case, they surprise us. But in the most part, no. The Supreme Court's terrible. Activist conservatives. Activist conservatives. Let's see. We did a response to the first debate like 4 months ago. It seems like just yesterday. We did a response to the first debate. That was boring, honestly, because it's just like all the people are fighting to try and be in second place. Who's going to lose to Donald Trump the least? We introduced y'all to some of the candidates running in Louisiana office. We had Britt Gandolfi running for the Louisiana Senate. We had Mel Manuel running, also running, I think, up on the North Shore for the House. We had, of course, one of the other candidates running again, Ed Carlson, running for Louisiana House. We did invite the other individual on the show who never showed up, who canceled last minute and never rescheduled because, reasons. We welcomed back onto the show Ken Good, a attorney from the state of Texas who is a bail bonds person and who is against bail reform, the ending of cash bail. And one of the reasons I like to have him on the show and other people like him on the show is basically because it allows me to poke holes in the arguments as to why they're wrong. Because they represent cash bail in such a way that, that we have to have cash bail. Well, no, if you have cash bail, you make it so that the rich people can get out and poor people have to sit in. How do you fix that? You eliminate cash bail. You make it so that the people can't use their privilege, their wealth, to be able to keep themselves out of prison, out of jail, and waiting for prison, at least waiting for their trial. That's what you do. But the misrepresentations that are done by many of the people who are against cash bail oftentimes are sheriffs. And to me, I think oftentimes those sheriffs are elected, and probably those sheriffs are elected many times. If you probably looked at their campaign finance reports, you'll probably see a lot of them being supported by people who are bail bondsmen, who don't want to see an end to cash bail because their business goes away if you eliminate cash bail. So, follow the money. Tara Dublin this year finally published her book. She's self-published. If you want to buy the book, the link is still on the first page, on the first, it's the first link listed in the, in here. I think the link should still be good. I was trying to use it to get people to support the show as well, because if you click that Amazon link, I think it also helps helps me by, it's an affiliate link, so I get a little cut. Pays her, pays me too. So there you go. And then, of course, 2 months ago, Trump wine made from Big Lee sour grapes. See, is it Big Lee or is it Big League? That's one thing that I've always wondered. Is it him saying Big Lee, i.e. Bigly, or is it him saying Big League, Big space League, Big League, like the big leagues, like baseball? Or maybe he says one time, another time. So, what type of sauce do you put on your vermin? Well, I think it depends on the type of vermin, honestly. Sometimes you might want a nice bechamel, a nice hollandaise. But yeah, then of course we had the Israel-Hamas-Palestinian conflict at 10/7 happen, and immediately I started criticizing Israel for how they were responding. But people started attacking me, like on other video platforms specifically, because I'm a Zionist, because even though I'm attacking Israel, back and forth over the whole thing, because I'm being critical of Israel, but yet I'm a Zionist. Go figure. Easy Street with Jen. Do you know your audio sounds like dead air plus audio? When you speak, when you finish every sentence, it sounds like a Pong game. Is everyone else getting the same thing? Does everybody else hear the similar thing, or audio sounds normal here? Okay, well, maybe it's your audio settings, Jen. So, anywho, what else? And of course, Louisiana in October elected Jeff Landry as governor. We are not going to be doing well with Jeff Landry. Louisiana is going to be the embarrassment for a good bit. At least for all of 2024, you are going to see how bad Louisiana is. Because you're going to have Louisiana's governor being Jeff Landry. You're going to see, not only going to see that, you're going to see the Speaker of the House. You're going to see Steve Scalise up there as well as the House Majority Leader until they somehow manage to lose more members, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah. Such high-profile Louisiana people. I mean, the last time we had a Louisiana who was about to be Speaker of the House, Larry Flynt exposed him for cheating on his wife, and then he had to resign, and that's how we got David Vitter in that position. So it's not a good in that seat, I guess. That was Steve Scalise's seat. So now we have Speaker Johnson from a different district, but still, for Louisiana to be that high profile, it's going to be an embarrassment for Louisiana. I have predicted that. Now, Louisiana has this is the opportunity for conservatism to prove everybody wrong, but they won't, because unlike Texas and unlike Florida, because I made the statement about this during the election live stream, and I've said it since, maybe once or twice before, I don't know. But Texas and Florida have horrible Republican governors, obviously, Abbott and DeSantis, respectively. But they also have big blue cities that kind of anchor the state. You have Houston, you have Dallas, you have Austin. San Antonio, I believe, is also rather blue. All these big blue cities, economic drivers, just pushing everything. It's kind of supporting the state. In Florida, you have Orlando, Tampa Bay. Or Tampa, I guess. Tampa Bay is the area. You have Jacksonville, which just flipped over to have a blue mayor, but you have maybe a little less than maybe Texas does, but still, you have big blue areas in this red state. Louisiana, New Orleans is a blue city, but it's not a big blue city like the rest of it. It can't support the state of Louisiana in a rough time. So we're going to learn real quick just how badly a Republican run a Republican run state with a Republican supermajority in both houses and a Republican governor is going to nosedive into the toilet. So you're going to see horrible things coming from Louisiana, which is my prediction. And it's going to show everybody why you can't let the Republicans get any more power. We've already discussed why you can't let Republicans get any more power, simply because look at what's going on in Texas with abortion rights. Look at Ohio with them trying to throw a poor woman in prison because she miscarried into a toilet. Like, plenty of examples of why Republican leadership is not a good idea. But Louisiana is going to turn that into an art form, and you're going to see just how bad it can really get. You're going to see just how close to Gilead we get. We're going to get, I think, very, very close to Gilead here in Louisiana before the 2024 elections, maybe. And then you're going to see, it's going to be the case, like, do you want, basically the argument that Joe Biden could probably make is, do you want America to become Louisiana? No, vote for me. So hey, Kimchi, what's going on? Yeah, apparently some people have been having issues typing on the phone or something. Who knows? Maybe it's a YouTube issue. But Anyway, just to let everybody know who hasn't been here since the beginning when I showed it and announced it or whatever, just if you missed the announcement for the year in review, we are officially in review for the second time. Friday it happened the first time. We are officially in progress of getting reviewed. So hopefully I'll get my partner status soon for realsies this time. And again, thank you for if you've joined us since the beginning. This is news. This is definitely news, and hopefully good news. I'm not holding my breath. I'm not doing a happy dance again until I get my first super chat or my first membership, but just as a review, we are getting reviewed. Also, as Jolie pointed out, as a show reset, Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left, That's Right, Mondays, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Central, here on YouTube. LiberalDanRadio.com is the easiest way to get here. You can support the show liking videos, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, comment on, like, or share other videos that are not the live videos, especially if you think they make a really good point. Share them on socials. That'll really get the algorithms going. Hooray for Al Gore. You can support the show by becoming a Liberal Dan Radio patron. Patreon.com/LiberalDan or Patreon.liberaldan.com. You can Venmo Liberal Dan on Venmo, or you can buy me a cider. Go to liberaldan.com, click the Buy Me a Cider button, or just go to buymeacoffee.com/LiberalDanRadio, and you can do it there as well. And let's see. I did just see I think I missed the earlier post, Jeff, about your dog passing. I've dealt with several animals passing over the past few years. When we were in Florida, was it last year? I think it was last year when we were in Florida. One of our cats passed away. Sushi, our dog, passed away. Last year or two as well. We've also lost two cats. One of them, I think, during COVID, one of them right before COVID. So it was a pretty crappy time for animals for us. So I really sympathize with you, Jeff. I'm very, very sorry about your loss. It's definitely tough when they cross the Rainbow Bridge. So my feelings are out with you, man. I definitely feel for you. I'm definitely sorry for you. Let's see. Let's scroll back up. Weird. I read that book just before I left Texas. Handmaid's Tale. Makes sense. Let's see. 40% books banned from schools nationwide, including Florida. Not surprised, because he's fighting the woke agenda. Which Kimchi? Which two people did not hit that like? I mean, which two monsters? There you go, Kimchi. You whipped him into shape. Kimchi using that whip, not saving it to Liberal Dan After Dark. And tisk Tim. That's all. I forgive you, Tim. I give you long distance hugs, Jeff, because fat man hugs are the best, as I'm told. So, one thing I do want to, another way to support the show is if you don't have a Twitch account, make a Twitch account. If you do have a Twitch account, go to Twitch and follow me here. I currently have 6 followers on there. I'm not doing anything on Twitch yet. So you're not going to get any notifications. You're not going to get anything about me going live yet on there. But once I finally get approved to be a YouTube partner, and once I get that first super chat in there, and once we're live and cracking with that one, I'm going to immediately start doing whatever it is I need to do, probably maybe even getting on StreamYard or something, and getting and dual streaming both on Twitch and on YouTube, so I can become, and I'll need a couple people to watch on. I don't need a lot of people to watch on Twitch. I only need 3 people to watch on Twitch when I'm streaming on Twitch, and when I do that, I'll be able to become. I should be able to become an affiliate rather quickly on Twitch, because I was able to become an affiliate rather quickly with nerdydan.com, very easily with the help of Jolie and Aaron. So with those 2 alone, and maybe like my own personal account, I was able to become an affiliate on Twitch within a month. And I've been an affiliate on Twitch for like 17 months, which has been awesome. So, but yeah. So I can get monetized there, and then you could, if you have an Amazon Prime, you'll be able to subscribe with your Prime for free over there and help me out over there as well. So all in all, it's just that's step 2, and then maybe step 3. At some point, maybe I'll do the whole Liberal Dan After Dark thing. We'll see. We'll see how we go. We'll see how it goes. Maybe that'll be a patron thing. We're not. Baby steps. Maybe that'll be a thing once. If I start doing this full time, maybe that'll be a thing I'll do full time. We'll know. We'll see. But in order for me to do this full time, I'll have to be doing a lot more than what I'm doing now. So that's a way down the future thing. So, anywho. Anyway, that's the show reset. Twitch.tv/Liberal Dan Radio if you have not followed yet. Let's see, and of course, since whatchamacallit, I've been dealing with a lot of stuff since the 10/7 attacks, because I've been feeling like I've been having to justify my own existence, my own right to live, just because I'm a Jewish person, because people out there are trying to be like Hamas apologists. Like, I found this one image, and I posted it to Liberal Dan Radio on Facebook, if you want to go see it. Let's see. Let's bring this up. Facebook.com/Liberal Dan Radio. Let's find the link to the post. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Dude must have blocked me because I tagged him in the post, and then he's no longer tagged. But it's this. That's the post. Actually, let's do it this way. Let's open this in a new. Come on. Come on. Open image in new tab. And let's flip this back over to here, to the alternate. Might be a little hard to read if you're watching on your screen or whatever, but one of the things that was, first of all, persons using the whole from the river to the sea thing, and unless you're using the alternate version from the river to the sea, everyone's safe and free, it's anti-Semitic because it's been taken and usurped or whatever by Hamas as a call for Jewish genocide. But this thing right here, that's all in yellow, the 5 lies you've been told about Palestine. 3, Palestinians attack Israel without provocation. The conflict started on 7/10, whatever. Hamas was forced to detain Israelis in order to free innocent Palestinians, some of whom had been held and tortured for years. No, Hamas was not forced to do anything like that. Hamas was not forced to do anything that it did on 10/7. Not one bit. But these people are being Hamas apologists. If you're a Hamas apologist, you're an anti-Semite. Period. With the T at the end. Period. So, let's see. We invited Britt Gandolfi back on the show also later on to talk about some stuff with the Louisiana Democratic Party. Again, we talked about Brittany Watts in Ohio. We talked about, and that ridiculous case with Brittany Watts was, again, because even though the state of Ohio, just to recap the case, even though the state of Ohio voted to protect abortion rights in the state of Ohio, it didn't take effect until like now or like mid-December. So when Brittany Watts was miscarrying, it was still illegal for them to treat the miscarriage because they could still detect a heartbeat, so they had to send her home. She had a miscarriage in her toilet, and then they tried to try her with a crime because, she's a black woman. And then the judge said, okay, we're going to send this to trial. I'm like, there's no reason to. She had a miscarriage. Even the doctor said that there's no evidence of any wrongdoing. But, Ohio. Remember when Ohio used to be a swing state? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Then, of course, we had a discussion about Texas Stand Your Ground most recently. The Colorado ruling, kicking Trump off of the ballot, but don't hold your breath. We talked about reclaiming, rebranding, and reusing words and how that can have power. We talked about Ken Paxton and the ridiculous with the Texas abortion case and whether or not, people are going to be able to have abortions who need them in Texas, and the answer right now is probably no. See, Angel Twiddler, it's a year before the election when all the white nationalists bring out their Bernie Bro accounts to create conflict and instigate infighting. Pretty much. Yeah. So Pepperidge Farm remembers everything. Yes, they do. Jeff Curry, I'm not going to speak about this war. I'm too ignorant about what's going on. You've been watching the show enough. You should know more. I've had some primers. There are 4 primers on there are 4 videos. Let's see. There's a playlist. Let me find the link to the playlist. Playlists. Israel and Palestine. Actually, the playlist is has 14 videos in it. But some of them are like the whole ass podcast, and some of them are just from a 30,000 point of view. But here you go. If you need to be more educated about the topic, playlist. There you go. There's the playlist about Israel and Israel in the area, Israel, Palestine, etc., Israel and Hamas, yada yada. So I have faith in you being more and more informed, Jeff, because you listen to Liberal Dan Radio, talk for life. That's right. Let's see. Jeff, the way I speak, it gets me in trouble. I'm not sure how. I mean, the way you speak is usually about dirty stuff. I don't know how you can make that dirty. So, let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Trying to scroll back and see if there's anything that I have missed in here. Let's go back up and look, because I know P-Dubs had brought up the Trump Christmas tree. Is it a Christmas tweet or was it his truth? Donald Trump sends warm wishes to foes, rotten hell. Donald Trump read off his political naughty list in a hellish holiday rant on Christmas. Oh, speaking of Christmas, I survived the I did not go to Wham Holla. I did not hear Wham's version of Last Christmas until December 26th. Yay! Jeff, I can make anything dirty. Jeff is like, challenge accepted. Whew. former president hopped on his Truth Social platform Monday to unwrap a number of festive screeds against foes, including a post that criticized Jack Smith, the Justice Department special counsel who had brought to a criminal case. Merry Christmas to all, including crooked Joe Biden's only hope, deranged Jack Smith, the out-of-control lunatic who just hired outside attorneys fresh from the swamp, unprecedented, to help him with his poorly executed witch hunt. The frosty rant came days after the Supreme Court rejected Smith's request to fast-track consideration of Trump's presidential immunity claim. Trump has pleaded not guilty in the cases brought by Smith. The former president later directed his holiday wishes to both good and bad world leaders before comparing them with his adversaries in America. None are as evil and sick as the thugs we have inside our country, who with their open borders, inflation, Afghanistan surrender, green new scam, high taxes, no energy independence, woke military, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Iran, all electric car lunacy, and so much more, are looking to destroy our once great USA, Trump wrote. May they rot in hell. Again, Merry Christmas. I mean, but of course, anybody who's not voting for him is going to say, what a fool. Anybody who's voting for him is be like, all right, that's my president. I like him. He's the guy that I vote for. He's my president. I love Donald Trump and everything he stands for. So yeah, I mean, I like there's some people where you got to say at what point at what point is it enough? At what point do you draw the line? Hey Pisces, what's up, Greeter? What's going on? Good to see you. At what point do you just say enough is enough? And as I said in one of my other videos, at what point is enough too much? At what point is enough enough? And at what point is that too late? At what point do you say it's too late? And is it too late for you to say enough? If you get my meaning, if you get my drift. Like at some point, it's going to be too late to say enough is enough, because he's going to have gotten all of the power that he wants to become dictator for life. And, I mean, hopefully that won't be that long. But, you know, it is what it is. I just realized I have a typo on my thing. And it's bothering the hell out of me, so... I don't think anybody noticed. I don't know if anybody else noticed the typo on my thing, but I'm noticing the typo on my thing, so it's getting fixed. There we go. Anywho. And maybe it was noticed, maybe it just scrolled by too quickly. I didn't realize it. But hey, there you go. It's now fixed. We now have gotten rid of the extraneous slash. Elsewhere, he claimed that Biden would interfere in next year's presidential election as Trump seeks to retake the White House. Further, he warned of looming madness and doom, boasted about in his polling performance, and declared that people will be happy, not sad, with his alternative to the Affordable Care Act of Obamacare. See, here's the thing. He said he had an alternative, but he never said what it was. And if he has it, if he thinks we'll be happy with it, where is it? Why not show it? There is an infinitesimal chance that he's right. Most likely he's not. But, you know, maybe there's this little teeny tiny little chance, like this big, that he's right, and that maybe his idea is vastly superior to the Affordable Care Act. It's probably not. I won't hold my breath on that. But maybe. But where is it? Show us. Herr Donald, give us the language that you are going to present to us to show us how wonderful this replacement to the Affordable Care Act is. Please let us know. What things are you getting rid of, and what things are you making better? I would love to know. I would love to pick your plan apart, piece by piece. Aaron, I thought it was a slasher flick. That's why I like Aaron. Bobert's Theater Excursion was a great show. You did the soda straw sound. Yeah. Wait, looked like for a second I was, or it looks like I'm still kind of, spinning there for a second, like I was buffering for a hot second. I don't know. I mean, any attempt to make fun of Bobert and her movie theater naughtiness is fine with me. Again, because look, again, I'm fine with anybody being sexually free. I'm fine with anybody, if you want to have fun, have fun. But there are places to do that, and it's not in the middle of a public theater where, like, kids are around. Right? And especially if you're somebody who's running as I'm a Christian, I'm a moral person, and I want... No. That makes you a hypocrite. Not the hypocrite of the... Not the hypocrite of the year. But because that goes to Chink and Anna of the Young Turks. But yeah, you can't sit here and tell other people that they can't do things that they want to do sexually and then start groping people's jocks in the middle of the frickin' Beetlejuice show or in front of kids. You can't be complaining about drag shows in front of kids because you want to protect the kids and then start groping people in front of kids. It is what it is. And sometimes I've said that, here's the thing. Typically, there are times where I've been like, you know what, sometimes you might look at Bobert and think that she's, hey, she might be seen as or viewed as an attractive woman, but the problem with Bobert is that once she starts talking and she starts spewing her vile rhetoric, any attractiveness that she might have had just goes right out the window, and it's just like, ugh, no. Like, they're just, because they say beauty is skin deep, but ugly is to the bone. That's some ugly right there. Her ugliness just radiates from her dark, hard core. Speaking of hardcore, let's just give her a hand for reaching across the aisle. She was giving you don't have to give her a hand. She was the one giving somebody else a hand. Jeff Curry, I was embarrassed once, 1991 October in a movie theater. Really now, Jeff? Did you cut a hole in the bottom of a bucket of popcorn? Anywho. So yeah, 2023. Great year, huh? I mean, student loan thing, like I've been waiting. I've been impatiently waiting. Not like terribly impatiently waiting, but like with the student loan thing, like I was just shook. Because again, I was waiting because even though you had Biden's student loan thing that got destroyed by the Supreme Court in their activism, you still had Biden making adjustments to the counts of how many payments you've made because of how some of these servicers had worked and how they pushed people into forbearance when they shouldn't have, and as such, they're counting time spent in forbearance as time spent in repayment, allowing people to get out of their loans earlier. So, and the people who they did that for first were people that, when they did that, it would mean that their loans were wiped clean, and I wasn't one of those people, but I'm still one of those people who will have an adjustment who will have an adjustment done. Now, here's the thing. And I was anticipating making a video after my adjustment was done stating, hey, this is how much money Joe Biden saved me because he took away this many payments and my payments are X, so it's going to save me at least X amount of money at the end of my loan. Then again, it would be probably more because as my income goes up, assuming I keep the same job over the course of the rest of my student loan payments, I'll likely be paid more and more and more, like would have to pay more and more and more. So this is money that he's saving me on the back end. But in reality, at the end of the day, he's saving me money now because the smart or the save plan that he implemented cut my student loan payment from like $280 to $50. Like it cut $230 a month off of my student loan payments, and then my work happens to have a program that pays $50 off of it every month. So I know I'm not paying anything towards my student loans. But here's the kicker. I got a message because Mohila, the one that Missouri used to be able to gain standing when they shouldn't have been able to, Mohila is my student loan servicer. Mohila sent a message saying, we are currently making adjustments to your account. And once we're done making adjustments to your account, whatever adjustments are being made to my account, I can only assume that the adjustments that are being made to my account are the adjustments to knock off those remaining months that I no longer have. And so during those times, they've actually set my payment due to 0 and my interest rate to 0. So while they're adjusting my accounts, it's at 0 due, but they're still counting this time spent in forbearance because it's administrative forbearance. They're still counting it as time spent in repayment. So that's good. Originally, it was for 3 months. It was going to be my next payment that was going to be due January instead of 3 months ago. I just checked my student loan thing yesterday to see, well, have they made up their minds? Have they figured out how many months are being chopped off of what I owe? No, but they've extended my amount of my next payment is now due in March. So now that's 3 more months of 0 payments that I have to make towards my student loans that are now going to still count towards repayment. My guess was that maybe I would finish paying student loans in 2025. Once they make the adjustment that my student loan payments should be done in 2025. That's my guess based off of my best estimate, based off of the amount of payments that I'd made over the course of my career, plus time spent in forbearance, deferment, etc. that wasn't in school stuff. That's my guess. I could be wrong. Maybe it's less. Maybe it's more. If they're making my adjustment now, I don't know if that means that I'm going to get it wiped clean sooner. Maybe. I don't know. But we'll see. If it gets wiped clean in March, before March, you're going to see me be a very happy camper and doing a podcast on that very, very soon. Hey, egg off Twitter. I wish someone would take me to a musical, MTG. I wish someone would take Marjorie Taylor Greene and Bobert to a showing of Our American Cousin, along with Donald. AL Quillard, call student aid and ask questions. I did call them because there was something that didn't make sense. I called Mohila. I was like, I didn't understand what certain things said and why certain things were said the way that they did. And one person was able to explain it to me, and I was like, okay, fine, I'm done. But look, I'm not asking any more questions than I need to. I have other stuff I have to deal with. So, Biden has been doing it in piecemeal with smaller batches of loan forgiveness. Well, it's not necessarily piecemeal. It's just the fact that they're doing the adjustments in piecemeal because they're doing the adjustments on time spent in forbearance and deferment and taking those adjustments, but they're doing it based off of the most bang for their buck. So if the adjustment now gets you out of payment, you're one of the people that was handled first. So my adjustments, I knew by doing even rough math, looking at how much time I'd been in repayment, how many whatever, I pretty much knew that there was no shot of me getting everything wiped clean that day when they announced it. So fine. I was still tickled pink when, like, I was actually having a ridiculously bad day that day. My day was I don't know, I don't even remember why the day was bad. All I know is I was having a very bad day. And all of a sudden I decided to go look at my student loans to see how much money, because some announcement had been made about student loans. I'm like, I was like in such a bad mood. I was so angry about something, and I don't know what it was. I hadn't been angry about a lot of things recently, but it was just a bad. All I remember is that it was a bad day. And I open up my student loan portal and I look at my next payment due, and instead of seeing $230 or $280, I see it's $50, and I'm like, I cried. I literally cried because I was like so overwhelmed with emotion that it actually, like, something actually good happened that day. I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. So yeah. So really, nobody got my joke? I gave it enough time for it to go through the internet. Let's see. Wait, Jeff moved that because this is the killer cut in every movie I've ever seen, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't seem like anybody caught my joke, unfortunately. Maybe it went over, I don't know. It was a deep cut, so to speak, speaking of the cuts going on in there. It was a shot in the dark that somebody might get my joke. Who knows? Let's see which one. Box? No. Yes, the joke. The joke where I said that I wanted somebody to go take, because somebody had said, who said? Somebody, a golf twiddler was like, I wish somebody would take me to a musical, MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I said, I wish somebody would take Marjorie Taylor Greene and Boebert and maybe even Donald Trump to a showing of Our American Cousin. That's the joke. If you don't get it, you might have to Google it, and then you might laugh. So anyway, we kind of not the ice picture. He was talking sex. Aaron, right over our heads. Yes, unfortunately. Just the tip, huh? Tip your waitresses, just the tip. Whenever I would do karaoke, whenever I would sing the Richard Cheese version of My Neck, My Back, which I would wait to do until after all the old people would leave in the particular place that I would go to. And I would basically say, I'd start doing it, be a loud singer. I was like, hey, everybody, tip your waitress, tip your bartender, just a tip. But yeah, it's a Richard Cheese is amazing. I think we're almost to the point now where we start talking about silly stuff. We are just a bunch of poorly educated. I was born a poor black child from the Jerk. For some reason, Wes, when you said that, when you said we were just a poorly educated, whatever, basketed pearls, I just read, I was born a poor black child from the Jerk in whatchamacallit, Steve Martin. I was able, remember that Ticketmaster thing where Ticketmaster charged everybody ridiculous fees, so their settlement was they were going to give everybody free tickets to some concerts, and I got 27 free tickets like for me, and 27 free tickets to like pairs of free tickets for me, and 27 pairs of free tickets for my wife, and I only ever got to use 4 of them. Like, it was ridiculous. And so what happened was, so one of them that I went to go see was a Strange Love, which is a Depeche Mode cover band, and they had the Susies cover band, the Susie and the Banshees cover band open for them, and that was really good. And then the other one I got to go see was Richard Cheese. Ken QB, you don't sing "Why Don't We Get Drunk" by Jimmy Buffett? I have done that. I did that on a Disney cruise, on the over 18 one, on the over 18 karaoke one, because it was over 18, and so I did that and James is Laid, and it was just so hilarious that the karaoke jockey at whatchamacallit on the cruise was just so, oh my god, you're talking about a screwdriver, right? Like, yes, I'm talking about a screwdriver on the waterbed filled up for me and you. Yeah, exactly. Just, it still bothers me. Just like, if you don't want people to sing particular songs in karaoke, don't make them available for people at karaoke. Or if people request them, tell them you can't sing this on a Disney cruise. But it's an over 18. It was an over 18 karaoke, so I'm assuming I'm safe singing adult songs. But hey, it is what it is. I'm having deja vu. Jeff, didn't you say that you told us that you watched Bonnie and Clyde last time? When we were discussing, I think I had discussed that I had watched Die Hard Sunday night, Monday morning. And then I think last show you had said you had watched Bonnie and Clyde, and it's not a good idea to watch. But yeah, I never got to, but yeah, the stupid Ticketmaster thing though. Like, I got to watch Richard Cheese, and I got to watch Strange Love with the Susies opening for them here in New Orleans, and both of them were in New Orleans, the House of Blues. And then you were never able to get any other tickets because there was just a limit of the tickets. Like, you got all these free tickets, but you could only use them on a certain number of shows, and once the shows were gone, they were gone. So yeah, I got 27 sets of free tickets because of the settlement, but I only got to use like 4. Woohoo! What a settlement that was. A person was caught leaving a house with OJ and vodka. The police said the person was in possession of a screwdriver. Ba-dum-bum. Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon. Speaking of screwdrivers, I'm disappointed the newest Doctors one looks like a TV remote. Disney will destroy the Who-verse in a way Daleks never imagined. And here's the thing. Here's my nerd thing. Here's my one of my disappointing nerd things. I've never seen Doctor Who. Never seen Doctor Who. For some reason, I've just never had the interest in watching it, and just I've had other things that I wanted to watch, so never seen Doctor Who. Wes, OJ said he did it. Lovely. In a humorous way, they got him in the leg. Ba-dum-bum-sh. Yeah, human being. What exactly? That's usually the response that I get. That's almost like, you know, that's probably maybe even worse than when Jolie the other day was like, she's never seen Die Hard. So there you go, Aaron. Aaron's got my back. Tried to watch Doctor Who. So there you go. Me and Aaron right there. So if you want an explanation of the joke from earlier, if you don't feel like Googling it, Our American Cousin is the play that Lincoln saw on his last night on Earth. That's the joke, everyone. Anywho. Let's see. Oh, Wes. I love my witches. Yeah, I don't know about what, Joel. I think Wes might have had a little bit too much extra OJ with too many extra screwdrivers tonight, perhaps. Who knows? Wes won't reveal secrets in here. Wes's secrets. Wes, you've revealed a bunch of information in chat though, or at least on the phone you did. I guess maybe that's a good thing that the phones are down. You can't learn any more things about Wes. Let's see, where are we at right now, views wise? Let's see, 80 times 22 minutes divided by 60 is, we're at almost 30 hours, which is good. Hey, Fowler's Wrath. Ooh, Pennyworth is really good. I definitely liked Pennyworth. Pennyworth is a really good show. He really does a good job doing the Alfred Pennyworth. And it's really good, like, it's a really good version of the Michael Caine version of Pennyworth. Like his it's like the Michael Caine accent of Pennyworth. I'm not, when I say Michael Caine, and then I don't say Pennyworth like Michael Caine would say Pennyworth. But yeah, Pennyworth is great. Although there's an interesting shock at the end of the last season. So I'm not gonna say what it is, because there's an interesting twist. I'm not gonna say what it is, but just there's an interesting twist. But it's definitely a good show. I highly recommend watching Pennyworth. Are you a good witch or a bad witch? I'm not a witch. What else to talk about tonight? We talked about Trump's horrible thing. Well, his horrible tweet, I guess. We could talk about, there's plenty of Trump's horrible things that we could talk about. I mean, there's not much news to talk about when it comes to Israel and Palestine or whatever. We got Michigan. Oh yeah, Michigan today rejected the ballot disqualification bid. But apparently, unlike Colorado has a law that says it's somebody who's running for office has to prove that they're eligible to run for office. Michigan doesn't have a rule requiring that the politician running for office has to prove that they're qualified to run for office. So maybe that's the difference between the two. I'm not sure. But there could be a general election challenge, maybe. Tommy Smothers, he died today, or recently. What else? Biden announces $250 million in military aid to Ukraine, final package of 2023. Colorado GOP asks U.S. Supreme Court to overturn ruling disqualifying Trump from 2024 ballot. Of course they do. House Republicans suggest Biden may have obstructed impeachment inquiry, but of course they probably gave no evidence as to why or how he did so. They probably just said that he may have done it. Let's see. In light of an official statement from the White House that President Biden was aware in advance that his son, Hunter Biden, would knowingly defy 2 congressional subpoenas, we are compelled to examine as part of our impeachment inquiry whether the president engaged in a conspiracy to construct proceeding in Congress. So because he knew that he was going to... They're so stupid. Like, they're just really just so dumb. Again, Donald Trump says he loves the poorly educated, and there's plenty of them elected into the House to represent the MAGA wing of the conservatives. Yes, Ken, we discussed Boebert changing districts a little bit. I'm amused at the fact that, at the idea that, she's trying to replace Ken Buck, who's retiring, so, because she thinks that if she moves to the 4th district, she's going to make it less likely for the Democrats to be able to spend money to be able to topple her. I think it would be amusing that if if she moves to the 4th district, maybe that would make the 4th district a district that the Democrats could win because she's such a weak candidate. Who knows? Maybe. We'll see. See, let's check out more U.S. news. It's more Colorado stuff. An Idaho judge temporarily blocks ban on gender transition care for minors under the 14th Amendment, which is good. Bodies of missing pregnant teen and boyfriend in Texas may have been found in a car. Interesting. Video, fake Trump elector in Michigan says he regrets involvement in scheme. Well, of course he does, because he was caught. And now maybe he realized that he was stupid. Man charged with hate crime after stabbing 2 teens at Grand Central Station on Christmas Day. Lovely. Trump rips loser Debbie Dingell, claims she once called him crying. Lovely. Mayor Adams sets limit on when migrant buses can arrive in New York City. Nice. Of course, I don't know how you could do that, because again, if a bus is crossing state lines, it would be federal jurisdiction, right? So shouldn't the feds be able to control that? I don't know. States don't seem to be able to understand that the federal government controls interstate commerce, so who knows? They don't understand many of the amendments. The conservatives don't understand the Constitution a lot. Vivek Ramaswamy's campaign may not make it to Iowa. Not shocked. He's too busy worried about man, bear, pig. Let's see. How about Chicago and some suburbs impounding buses that bring up immigrants unannounced? I mean, like, I don't know why. My biggest thing about the whole, like, DeSantis and Abbott shipping up busloads of undocumented migrants or people or asylum seekers or what have you up to the left-leaning areas isn't that kidnapping? Aren't they misleading them? Why aren't they being brought up on charges? Like, shouldn't you be able to arrest Abbott and DeSantis for their involvement in that? Like, they should be arrested and tried and convicted for what they've done. And anybody who's been involved in the misleading of these undocumented migrants, anybody who's been involved in misleading those people, getting them on the buses and taking them where they didn't expect to be taken, or misleading them as to where they're going or what they were going to have waiting for them when they got there, they should all be arrested and be sitting in jail right now. But they're not, and I don't know why. Yeah, Wes, you can't call. There's no phone calls today, Wes. Blog Talk Radio is broken and has been for the last 2 weeks. But here's the thing, though, that I think the Republicans are being short. And we talked about this before as well. The Republican governors are being very short-sighted about the migrants not having the migrants in their states, because like if the Democrats could figure this out, we would be golden. Let all the migrants, let everybody who wants to come into this country, let them all come in to California, New York, Maryland. Send them to every blue state. Every blue state. Send them to every single blue state that's out there. Why? Because then those states will get more seats in Congress when it comes time to the census. And you'll take away power from the Republicans. Texas will lose seats. Florida will lose seats. I mean, Wyoming can't lose a seat because it only has one. But all of the other states that are like, teetering on the edge there might lose some seats too. You might have like Nebraska go from either 6 to 5 or 5 to 4 or whatever it is. All these red states who are, just barely holding on to the number of seats they have might drop one because you let all of the migrants go to the blue states because you didn't want them in your states. Then you lose out on 10, 15, 20 seats. Giving them all to the blue states, giving the Democrats a permanent majority in Congress. But again, nobody wants to listen to me. Nobody wants to listen to Liberal Dan and my brilliant ideas. I mean, it would take 7 years at this point, unless you found out a way to do a recounting of the census between every 10 years. I don't know if you would be able to do that, but still, at the end of the 10 years, your blue states would have many, many, many more people in them, and you'd be able to get more congressional seats shoved into those states, and then as a byproduct, you would have seats taken away from states like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Texas, Florida, Idaho, Kansas, Missouri. Well, not Wyoming again, because it only has one. But it would be, to me, it's a long-term play. Of course, we can't just only look at the long-term play. We got to make sure we beat Trump first. But it's a long-term play to take into consideration. If I was in charge, that's what I would do. But I'm not. So, it is what it is. So if they want to move, share the migrants, fine, let's do it with conversations with the other areas and the people who are being transplanted. Yeah, I mean, ideally, yes. Ideally, we would have conversations with the people who are the migrants, who would say, where do you want to go live? Let's set up things. Let's set up jobs and pipelines, and let's set up everybody to, you go here. Let's have open and honest communication about where you're going and what you're going to be doing when you get there. That would be great. But clearly Abbott and DeSantis have no earthly idea about that, or want to do that, etc. So, see, Elizabeth, I'm furious they are referring to mass migration of human beings as a caravan. It bugs me. Yeah, I mean, they were calling it that for a while, especially when they had a large group of people coming up from one to the other. I don't know if that bothers me that much, but I mean, there are much more dehumanizing ways that the conservatives talk about the undocumented individuals than by calling them a caravan. I mean, there's much worse ways that they talk to them about. So, I mean, I guess in comparison, caravan is tame. And I think I'd rather caravan than much of the other things that they say. Unfortunately, anyway, we'll see. See, I heard a Chicago person that it could take up to 10 months to get a work permit. That's another thing that should be done. It should be, you know, there should be a setup, like, you come into the country, you apply for asylum, here's your packet, here's a work permit, here's this, we set you up, here's where you go, here's a phone, here's a cell phone that will be able to keep track of you, so we can be able to keep in contact with you. We keep in contact with you. You have to, if we're gonna, you know, let you have autonomy to move around, you know, and not keep you, like, you know, as Trump would have you in a camp like he wants to do. That's the one thing that we should talk about, is the fact that Donald Trump wants to put people in concentration camps again. But let, you know, have it all be, but in order to do that, in order to have all that happen, you probably would need to have cooperation in Congress. And at the end of the day, the problem with Congress is the Republicans. At the end of the day, the Republicans don't actually want to do anything about this. If you had a plan to deal with the situation at the border that made sense, that they should agree with, they wouldn't agree with it simply because they want it to be a ballot issue in 2024. I'm frankly surprised they allowed abortion to become a ballot issue for the Democrats, because they've enjoyed using it as a ballot issue for them for the longest time. And now they get to see it from the other side. But, you know, some media outlets have successfully vilified the term to mean other things. I'm sure. And maybe I haven't watched enough of those media outlets. Maybe. So you can work, but you have to work for free in the beginning. Ask Donnie the what? But yeah, I'm sure, like, you know, your OAN folks, your Newsmax folks, even your Fox News folks, who probably, you know, make it sound very demeaning, and they'll find ways to make anything demeaning. So it's almost like, you know, I mean, it's not the same thing as this, but, like, remember when Fox News and all the Republicans would complain that Barack Obama wouldn't say the terms domestic Islamic terrorist or something like that, or Islamic fundamentalist terrorist, or whatever three words that they were complaining that he wouldn't use to describe terrorism, a terrorist that happened to be a Muslim. So if he would have said those words, they would have found some other three words that he won't say. Now he won't say this. So it's like the Republicans are always going to find a problem with something. The Republicans are always going to find a way to make something look bad. The Republicans are always going to find a way to, the conservatives are always going to find a way to dehumanize people. They're always going to find a way to be bigoted and xenophobic and support their racist, xenophobic, bigoted, etc. supporters. So one of the things that, you know, that the Republicans really have done deplorably is that there are people who are non-citizens who served the country in the military who are now getting the shaft because of you know, these Republican policies, and the Republicans want to go after these people who are not citizens. Even if they served in the military, they don't give a crap. So, nice rant. Liberal Dan Radio presents Fat Man Rants. Anyway. Anywho. So, I don't know. I think we're beating the dead horse at this point. I think we can, unless anybody else has anything that they want to talk about in the chat, we could probably go ahead and end the show early today. Especially with the fact that I am excited about the fact that I am back at the point where we are at the get reviewed stage, and hopefully this means that we will be sooner rather than later a YouTube partner. See with Jeff though, with the whole thing with the animals, like I still call sometimes my new dog Blanche, I'll still sometimes almost call her Sushi, which is my old dog's name. So it can still be rough, so to speak. Anywho, anyway, so let's go ahead and call this the end of this, the last episode of this year for Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left. That's right. We will end this episode on the hypocrite. We'll replay the Hypocrite of the Year, and then we'll go off to the outro music. But just want to again thank everybody for helping me get to here. Hopefully this sticks, and hopefully we get approved as a partner so we can start the new year off as a YouTube partner. I couldn't have done it without each and every one of y'all coming to the show. Thank you again for all of the Liberal Dan Radio patrons, every one of y'all who have taken part and supported the show. I appreciate every one of you as well. You got the mod squad, you got Aaron, you got Jolie, both of the mods who have been awesome and who have been giving their time, giving their, doing this thankless job for me. Been lovely. Very thankful for them for all of the help that they've been giving me for this. Thankful for the Demonox, the first Liberal Dan Radio patron. You've had. I'll have to go edit that out of the live stream when we're done, because I can edit that out of the YouTube video once we're done, or once it's done processing. I can go edit that portion out, so nobody can see it after the fact. So, say, yeah, romper stomper freaking do. I see you and you and you, right? It's getting late. That's why wasn't thinking about that. Sorry, y'all. Anywho, yeah, I'll edit that out as soon as it processes through. But anyway, thank y'all very much. Again, appreciate it. We'll play Hypocrite of the Year again for 2023, and then go out. Be safe this New Year's Eve, and we will see y'all New Year's Day.
Not only did Cenk and
Hold
Anna...
on, I didn't start. I started it and I was still muted. So let's start it again. Again, thank y'all. Have a very good, happy New Year's Eve. Be safe, celebrate, have fun, and have a good night.
The 2023 Liberal Dan Radio Hypocrites of the Year are the Young Turks. Not only did Cenk and Anna double down on anti-trans and TERF rhetoric when called out on it, and not only did they support a Supreme Court ruling against affirmative action, but Cenk and his run for president is not only ill-advised because he is not eligible, but it is a grift that only helps Donald Trump win. Remember to see who the Liberal Dan Radio Hypocrite of the Week is, and for more talk from the left, that's right, tune in every Monday and Wednesday, live at 8 p.m. Central at liberaldanradio.com.